Yo, what is happening, you pig-legged Palkia? A lot of you know I don't like messing around with the new cards too soon. People are asking me like all the time, like a month or 2 months before cards even come out. Yo, what do I think about this? What do I think this works with best? How would I play this? How would I play that? My answer is always, I don't know, ask me when we get closer to the set release. But we are closer to the set release. We're like 2 weeks away from the set release of Shrouded Fable. So I've started cooking up some builds. And this first one I'm coming at you with is a Kingdra EX build. Keep in mind, these are all just first takes, zero testing behind them. Just kind of my thoughts on what we can do with some of these new cards. Before we jump into this list specifically, though, if you guys need any Shrouded Fables products, GameGrid has got you covered over at GameGridSLC.com. Link, of course, will be in the description. They got all the Shrouded Fable products you could possibly want. Go over there, pre-order them right now, and code AzulGG will get you a discount over there as well. My code's fixed for anyone who's asking me if my code was working. My code is fixed over there, so my code will be working over there at GameGridSLC.com. So go over there, get yourself some Shrouded Fable products, and let's go ahead and let's talk about Kingdra EX. And this build of Kingdra EX, I've got another build that I'll be coming at you with eventually. This build revolves around the first attack, whereas the other build doesn't. It's got that Royal Decree for 1 water energy. Put up to 3 water Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench. So with this deck, we're looking to go with a turn 2 Royal Decree. I would say probably with this deck, we want to blind go first, look for our Candy Kingdra, get our stage 2 water Pokemon in our discard pile, Royal Decree, and then from there we Hydro Pump, which does for 2 colorless energy, 50 plus 50 more damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. So the only other Pokemon, water Pokemon that we play in this deck to utilize as the Pokemon we get off Royal Decree is other Kingdras and Baxcalibur. So Baxcalibur is the main energy acceleration, the main engine of this deck, I guess you could say, overall. And we use that to load up our Kingdras after we use Kingdra to set up our Baxcalibur, and then we attack with Kingdra from there. We can basically one-hit KO anything for 6 water energy. If we get 6 water energy on the Kingdra for the Hydro Pump, we can one-hit KO pretty much anything. We've got 9 basic waters in here. We also play the Radiant Greninja for early game draw power through the concealed cards, but then the great attacking option as well with the Moonlight Shuriken. So we got 4 Horsea, 1 Seadra to help us evolve up into our other Kingdras, and then we play 2 of the Seething Currents Kingdra, which is kind of like our draw engine in the deck. So I think ideally, turn 2, we would Royal Decree for 1 to 2 Baxcalibur, depending on what we're up against, and then also 1 to 2 Seething Currents Kingdra. Seething Currents, once during your turn, you may have either player shuffle their hand into their deck, or shuffle their hand and put it on the bottom of their deck, excuse me. If that player put any cards on the bottom of their deck, in this way, they draw 4 cards. So basically, shuffle your hand, put it to the bottom, draw 4, so we can use it as disruption against our opponent, and we can also use it as draw power on our own side as well. And theoretically, we could set up like 2 of these on our bench, so we could have like 2 of this Kingdra, 1 to 2 Baxcalibur, depending on the situation, and then 2 Kingdra EX / Seadra / Horsea in play to become the next Kingdra EX. I do play 1 Frigibax in here. My initial build that I came up with on stream didn't have the Frigibax, but I figured there probably is going to be some matchups where we only want to get out 1 Baxcalibur aggressively because we know our opponent won't be able to KO it immediately, and then we can bench a Frigibax later, but we could like maybe pull off a Royal Decree to get like double Seething Currents plus 1 Baxcalibur, and then bench a Frigibax, and then kind of develop our board from there, possibly. Because once we get like 6 energy, or as many energy as we need on our Kingdra EX, if our opponent goes boss KO Baxcalibur, we still have an attacker set up in the Kingdra EX, but if our opponent then knocks out that Kingdra, and we don't have a Baxcalibur in play, we can't create another attacker, so that's when we could bench the Frigibax to threaten Candy Baxcalibur from there, and then get back into our next attacker after that. So yeah, 4-1 Kingdra, 4-1-4-2 Kingdra line, 1-0-4 Baxcalibur line, the 1 Radiant Greninja. For supporters, 4 Irida, of course, combos too well with everything we're trying to do here. And I also played 4 Iono, Hand Disruption, Draw Power. Iono just kind of does it all. Need some Gust effects in there as well, so we got the 4 Bosses Orders. I'm playing 4 Baxcalibur in here because we really need to just find them aggressively and get them into our discard pile. Same thing with our Kingdras. I could even see like an argument for playing a 3rd Seething Kingdra, or Seething Currents Kingdra, excuse me. For the Pokemon search cards, I'm not quite sure where we should be sitting on this. Having played, of course, no games with the deck, I don't know how good the Great Balls potentially are, but it's really important that we not just find Kingdras and Baxcaliburs, but get them into the discard pile. So we need to play cards that get those Pokemon into our hands, so then we can Ultra Ball or Superior Energy Retrieval or Earthen Vessel them away to then use the Royal Decree to then get them into play. So Great Ball theoretically combos really well with that. So I got 4 Great Ball in here, 4 Ultra Ball, 1 Nest Ball, because it would still be nice to use Irida to potentially grab Kingdra, and then use the item search out of Irida to grab a Nest Ball, which could grab Radiant Greninja. So currently 1 Nest Ball, 1 Buddy Poffin for kind of the same reason. It'd be nice to use Irida to maybe grab, I mean, we could even grab like Frigibax with Irida, or Radiant Greninja with Irida, and then grab the Buddy Poffin, which then could find double Horsea or Frigibax Horsea or something like that, and get the whole squad set up. For some more Gust effects, got the Prime Catcher as the Ace Spec in here right now, but I could see, I don't know, maybe Unfair Stamp, or even, no, honestly, Unfair Stamp would probably be the only other one I'd consider. Prime Catcher seems too good to not play, though, and if we do fall behind, Counter Catcher as well. It's really nice to always turn, if you play Arvins or Iridas in the deck, being able to turn those into Gust effects. Not always, of course, we do have to be behind in the prize exchange, but if we are turning them into Gust effects, is always a super powerful play to be able to take advantage of. So one Counter Catcher in here for that. Of course, we do have the Prime Catcher, so I could see an argument to actually just cut the Counter Catcher because we play Prime Catcher. But if we were ever to put the Unfair Stamp in, then I would probably definitely want to have the Counter Catcher around. But currently, got both of them in here. One Super Rod, a little bit of recovery. I was thinking about this. If we're going to include the Frigibax, we might want a way to recover the Frigibax, because same thing, if we put one Baxcalibur in play through the Royal Decree, and then our opponent knocks it out, and then we put the Frigibax in play, and then they KO the Frigibax, we probably want to be able to Super Rod back the Frigibax, put that back into play to then once again threaten having a Baxcalibur set up on that following turn. And as long as we have a Kingdra attacking every single turn, one KO when they're active, they're always under threat, under pressure, and eventually we'll just win the game. No matter how much they chase our Frigibax or our Baxcaliburs, you know, we're attacking every single turn for a 1-hit KO, so we will eventually win the game at some point. Another thing to talk about with the Kingdra with the Season Curse, it's also a decent one prize attacker as well. 130 damage for 2 energy is not bad. We can do that with the Baxcalibur for 3 energy, but then we're putting our Baxcalibur in the active, which we might not want to do. Another card that I don't play in here that I definitely thought about, had in my initial build, but then cut after a little while, was the Pokestops. The idea of them seems pretty good, right? It can mill our stage 2 water Pokemon that we want to set up with the Royal Decree. Then it can also find powerful item cards for us as well. We don't overly care too much if we like mill a couple energy here and there, because we have 4 superior energy retrieval. And after playing some games with the deck, I might come around and put the Pokestops back into the deck. But if I can make the deck work without Pokestop, I always prefer to make decks work without Pokestop. Sometimes Pokestop is just too powerful, synergizes too well with certain decks to kind of ignore, and you've got to include it overall. But yeah, this is it. First take on Kingdra Baxcalibur. Let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. Let me know if there's any decks you want to see me build with these new Shrouded Fables cards in mind, whether it be just upgrading stuff like Charizard or Dragapult or whole new archetypes. I already have some other decks built that I'm going to be showing in the coming up days. Another Kingdra build or Saluna build. I'm trying to think of the other decks that I've worked with so far. I can't quite come up with the other ones off the top of my head, but yeah, a couple of them out there. I'm also going to work on decks like upgraded decks like the Charizard with Dusknoir and stuff like that as well, so be on the lookout for that. Catch y'all in the next video. Peace.